It all started with an interview for a news station. I met Chief, again, 2017, and I went to an autograph signing that he was doing. My dad, of course, I'm 24. I was 17 at the time. My dad met him at the TP back in the day, like I'm sure many did. And, I asked my dad, like, do you know who this guy is? This Chief Noc-A-Homa? My dad's like, yeah, I know who that is. So we got, in the car, and we rode up to Atlanta to meet him. And we did the whole autograph signing, and it was cool. And then we got in the car. I was like, I was working for ESPN Radio at the time. I was doing an internship. I was trying to get into the business of sports media. And I was really in the early stages. I just started college. I told my dad, I was like, I should have interviewed him. I should have asked him for an interview. And my dad's like, he didn't want to discourage me. He's like, it's a long shot, but, call the guy who ran the show and see if you can't get in contact with him. That's exactly what I did. I ended up on the phone with Miss Terry, and she's like, well, we're going to be in Warm Springs. And for me, I live in Columbus, Georgia. So she said, we're going to be in Warm Springs here in a couple of months at a powwow. And she goes, come on up. And I did that, and I interviewed Chief. He loved to reminisce about the Braves. I remember, showing him pictures of players back when he couldn't hear. He struggled to hear, and I would show him a picture of Glenn Hubbard, and he'd tell a 30-minute story about hunting with Glenn Hubbard or something like that, just a great storyteller, and I always enjoyed listening to him, no matter what it was. But I interviewed him, and that was really my first time ever putting anything together on my own, and it became one of my favorite interviews. A little while later, I get a call from Miss Terry, hey, come to this celebrity golf tournament that we're going to. And Chief made sure that I was treated like a celebrity, and I was far from it, and still am. But Chief, was a celebrity, make no mistake. He was a special person. And at this golf tournament, there was a lot of former Atlanta Braves, and I'm a Braves fan, so to me, those guys are legends. And I see Phil Niekro walk in, and I tell Chief, hey, Chief, I'd really like to interview Phil Niekro. Do you think you could introduce me? He said, yeah. He grabs him by the wrist. He walks over to Phil Niekro and goes, hey, Phil, this is my friend Tyler. Do an interview, and walks off. So you can imagine I was pretty nervous from that point on. But it went well, and Chief always did that. He always found a way to put me in the right spot, get me to success. And it wasn't just Phil Niekro. It was a wild range of people. And the second year we went to that tournament, I had grown not just from knowing Chief, but to knowing Chief. And there's a difference. I was Chief's friend at that point. And he walks in the second year, and this is one of my dad's favorite stories. But he walks in, and there's a few folks in front of me. And Chief walks up, open arms, just like this, right past everybody else, straight to me. And, I knew right then that he loved me, and, I loved him right back. Make no mistake. That same day, this is one of my favorite Chief stories. If you thought you weren't going to laugh today, I guarantee you will. But that day, Miss Terry asked us to, can you keep an eye on Chief? I want to go out with the ladies. Would you mind keeping an eye? And I appreciate the trust that she had in us, although it was misjudged. I was doing interviews on the side, and my dad was tasked with keeping an eye on Chief. I finish up an interview, and my dad comes up to me. He's panicking. I've lost Chief. I cannot find him. We're on Amber Alert at this point. And we're running around. We finally, there's a crowd of people, and I just see this above the crowd of people. He was in full regalia, and we found him, thank goodness. And I go do another interview. I don't remember who it was with, but I go do another interview. Same thing happens. My dad comes up to me. I can't find Chief. I don't know how he kept getting away, but he found a way to keep getting away. And we spend about 20 minutes looking for him. My dad goes to the restroom, and he just sees 2 moccasins under the stall, and everything was good. But no, Chief was always a great conversation. I've seen him in all different kinds of instances. I've seen him watching a ball game. I've seen him interact with fans at autograph signings. I've seen all that. My favorite, though, one of my favorite times with Chief, Phil Niekro, in his last year at the golf tournament before he passed away, was invited back, and he was sitting on a green. at the golf tournament. And I just decided, Phil Niekro's out there sitting by himself. I'm going to go sit and talk with Phil Niekro, because why not, right? So I go down there. 10 or 15 minutes later, Chiefs come walking down with chairs, and he sits with Phil Niekro. So I just start listening at that point. And they're talking about a story that if you're a baseball fan, you'll know. It was Phil Niekro's no-hitter.
I don't remember.
Got to be about the 5th inning, I just sat down. I didn't want to change anything.
I remember about the 7th inning on, no one would talk to me.
Oh, yeah.
I said, what the hell? What a nice day.
Yeah.
Not a cloud in the sky. Were you
Freddie Velasquez was your catcher?
Not Freddie, Paul Casanova.
Yeah.
Paul Casanova.
And Chief said, I just sat down. I didn't want to jinx anything. I just, wanted to let it go. But I probably spent 30 or 45 minutes, and it was one of the best conversations I think I've ever had with Chief. Because he opened up, I mentioned earlier, he loved to reminisce about the Braves. He loved his time with the Braves, specifically Hank Aaron. Anytime you got him talking about Hank Aaron, he really opened up. And he loved everything he did with the Braves. He loved the fact that he got to honor his traditions with the Braves. That's how he viewed it, and I always appreciated that he loved to talk about it. But again, with me and him, it got to be a lot deeper than that. It got to be, instead of just talking about the Braves, it got to just be hanging out with Chief, going to dinner, going to, spend time with him whatever way I could. And when I first met him, again, it was all about, hey, I just want to interview this guy because he used to, hang out with Hank Aaron and, that kind of thing. And it got to be really a friendship. And again, I've seen him, in all kinds of circumstances. And I remember we were out to dinner one night, and grown men that are probably 50 or 60 years old walking up to Chief and turning into little kids again, that kind of thing. And I always thought that was really special, and it's not something that a lot of people have that effect with, but Chief did. Chief was also a bit of a craftsman, as I'm sure a lot of you folks know. He made me all kinds of, whether it be a war horn, whether it be a little teepee, no matter what, he always had a knack for creating things. And one time, I believe he was making an arrowhead, and I was sitting next to him, and I was drinking a can of Coke, and he said, give me the tab on that. So I took it off and gave him one of these, just a little tab. He goes, I can make a turkey call out of this. And I said, oh, I got to see this. Now, y'all, I've spent weeks practicing this, but I think I got it down. All of a sudden, he does this right here. He goes, here, turkey, 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 turkey. Never laugh harder, never laugh harder. But no, Chief was great. He always had a way. He always had a way to make you laugh. He always had a way to make you smile. And I'll certainly never forget him. And he was a great friend to me. He did a lot for me in my career. I would not be where I'm at without him. He made me think that this was possible because he made, he welcomed me with open arms. You want to talk about the Braves? Let's talk about the Braves. And I always appreciated him for that. The last time I saw him, I went and visited him in the rehab center. And I knew he was battling some dementia. I was aware of that. And I was a little worried, is he going to, he may not know me. I went in there fully expecting the worst. And the moment I walk in, he goes, well, look who finally showed up. And that's exactly who he was, and we spent 20 minutes talking or so. And I always appreciate the friendship I had with him because I don't think a lot of people were lucky enough that are my age, especially, and just a Braves fan, to have known him and know him as well as I did. And Chief, we're going to miss you, but I know I'll see you again one day. Thank you guys very much.